Good morning, everyone. Today I want to introduce you to a creature that has fundamentally challenged everything we thought we knew about life and death. It's called Turritopsis dohrnii, the immortal jellyfish. At just 4.5 millimeters, smaller than your pinky nail, this tiny organism possesses a biological superpower that science fiction writers could only dream of. It can reverse its own aging process. It can, quite literally, turn back time. Today we're going to explore how this works, who discovered it, and what it might mean for the future of human medicine. Here's our roadmap. We'll start with the remarkable story of how this jellyfish was discovered and how its immortality was stumbled upon entirely by accident in the 1980s. Then we'll meet the creature itself, what it looks like, where it lives, and how it defies the standard life cycle. We'll dive into the science, the cellular mechanism called transdifferentiation that makes reversal possible. We'll meet the dedicated researchers who have devoted their careers to studying this elusive animal. And finally, we'll explore the big question: what can a 4.5 millimeter jellyfish teach us about human aging and regenerative medicine? Turritopsis dohrnii was first described by scientists in 1883 in the Mediterranean Sea. But for 100 years, nobody knew about its most extraordinary feature. That discovery happened by accident in the 1980s. Two students, Christian Sommer and Giorgio Bavistrello, were monitoring jellyfish polyps in their lab. They expected the adult medusae to mature, spawn, and die, the normal sequence. But when they checked their tanks, something impossible had happened. The jellyfish had reversed. Instead of dying, they had transformed back into their juvenile polyp stage. It was as if a butterfly had turned back into a caterpillar. This accidental observation opened an entirely new chapter in biology. So what does this immortal time traveler actually look like? Turritopsis dohrnii is nearly invisible. Its body is transparent, resembling a tiny piece of glass or an ice cube floating in the water. The one feature that stands out is its bright red stomach, visible right through its translucent bell. It reaches a maximum size of just 4.5 millimeters as an adult medusa, smaller than a grain of rice. And despite its tiny size, it's found worldwide in temperate and tropical waters across the globe. This isn't a rare, isolated oddity hiding in one remote cave. It's a global species hiding in plain sight. To understand why this reversal is so extraordinary, let's compare the standard jellyfish life cycle with what Turritopsis does. A normal jellyfish starts as a fertilized egg, develops into a larva, settles as a polyp. Think of it as a tiny sea anemone anchored to a rock, then buds off into the familiar swimming medusa form. The medusa reproduces, and then it dies. That's the one-way street every other jellyfish follows. But Turritopsis dohrnii breaks this rule entirely. When it experiences stress, starvation, injury, or temperature shock, instead of dying, it triggers a complete reversal. The medusa sinks, its cells transform, and it reverts to a polyp. From that polyp, new medusae can bud again. The cycle can repeat, potentially forever. This is biological immortality in action. Now let's go deeper. Let's look at the science that makes this possible. A cellular mechanism so elegant and so radical that it challenges our most fundamental assumptions about biological destiny. The key mechanism is called transdifferentiation. This is the process by which a fully specialized adult cell transforms directly into a completely different type of cell. Imagine a skin cell turning into a nerve cell, or a muscle cell becoming a bone cell. That's the scale of transformation we're talking about. In the immortal jellyfish, cells from the medusa's bell, tentacles, and other structures don't just heal, they fundamentally change their identity to build an entirely new body plan. It's not regeneration, which is regrowing a lost part. It's wholesale reorganization. This is what separates Turritopsis from every creature that merely heals well. And it's precisely why scientists are so intensely interested in understanding exactly how this reprogramming works at the molecular level. Let's put this in perspective with some numbers. There are over 2,000 species of jellyfish swimming in our oceans right now. Among them, at least 5 species are known to possess some form of biological immortality, the ability to skip death under the right conditions. But Turritopsis dohrnii remains unique. It's the only species known to perform this complete life cycle reversal through transdifferentiation. And remember, this entire biological miracle fits inside an organism just 4.5 millimeters across. The complexity packed into something smaller than a grain of rice is staggering and humbling. Who are the people studying this tiny miracle? The research community is surprisingly small, and their stories are as remarkable as the creature they study. The field of immortal jellyfish research is led by a remarkably small group of dedicated scientists. Dr. Maria Pia Miglietta at Texas A&M University at Galveston is one of the world's foremost experts. She focuses on the genetics, evolution, and systematics of Turritopsis, and she's one of very few people on Earth who can even reliably identify the species in the wild. On the other side of the world, Dr. Shin Kubota at Kyoto University holds what is widely considered the only known captive population of immortal jellyfish. He has kept them alive and cycling in his lab for years, an incredibly difficult feat that no one else has replicated at scale. And of course, we owe this entire field to Christian Sommer and Giorgio Bavistrello, the students whose accidental discovery in the 1980s, finding polyps where they expected dead medusae, changed biology forever. So, why should we care about a tiny jellyfish? The answer lies in what transdifferentiation represents. If we can understand exactly how these jellyfish reprogram their cells, how a specialized adult cell can forget what it is and become something entirely new, we may unlock entirely new approaches to regenerative medicine. Imagine therapies that could replace damaged heart tissue after a heart attack, regenerate neurons after a spinal cord injury, or reverse the cellular damage that accumulates with aging. The immortal jellyfish doesn't give us the direct answer. It's not about injecting jellyfish cells into humans, but it provides a blueprint. It proves that complete cellular reprogramming is possible in nature, and that proof opens doors that were previously considered firmly shut. Here's what I want you to take away from today. First, biological immortality exists, right now, in our oceans, in a creature smaller than your fingernail. Second, the mechanism is transdifferentiation, the ability of adult cells to change their identity and build a new body. Third, this research is still in its early stages, led by a small but passionate community of scientists who are asking enormous questions. And finally, the most profound insight. The blueprint for cellular renewal doesn't need to be invented. It already exists. It's been swimming in the Mediterranean for millions of years. The question now is whether we can learn to read it. Thank you.